What's up, everyone? How's it going? Me and Xscoundrel are going to go through our WREC tier lists. We got every single role, well, not every single player. We got like what I really think is like the top 10 teams, and some of the other teams we don't really know too much about, like Principality, Aphelion I haven't got in here as well. But most of the teams are here, you know, Rix.GG, Gamelord, Team Queso, Navi, Formulation, etc. etc. Right, let's get thinking. Why is it one G and one's S plus? I changed my. I just realized that one of us is G and one of us is S plus. All right, that's
What
fine.
does G stand for? I have never seen someone use G.
It's like go. I mean, we could change it to
like
S plus. Yeah,
okay.
it's like go to, like the best of the best sort of thing. But I guess no one's really goated. I mean, it's still quite early in Wild Rift days. Anyway, first up. Oh no, I messed up now because I changed it to G. Oh wait. There we go. First up, okay, it's gonna have to stay G and S plus, but it's fine.
Okay.
Baron lane, talk to me. Let's go.
Well, I think we both seem to agree that Random is like the best Baron laner in Europe by pretty big margin, and I think that's kind of been the way for months now. And I don't really think that. I think maybe if Leon was actively playing, you could maybe say that he's contesting that. Maybe back in the day, Leon versus Random was a good matchup. They had kind of different play styles, but I'd always say that Random was the better Baron laner because he had more breadth.
Yeah.
Like Random is the kind of guy that can play the Fioras, the Camille's, but he can also play the Gragas's, the Garens if he needs to. Whereas I never really felt that Leon was a good tank player. I just don't think he kind of knew how to pilot that style of play. But like Random, yeah, he's just the goated Baron laner in EU. Like he's just the best Baron laner. There's a reason that they brought him onto Rix, you know. I think he's really no questions really for me about Random being best.
I don't think no one's gonna argue with that, to be honest. I think quite a few people put Random up there as one of the best, and then in S there's a little bit of a difference, but nothing too crazy. I think we know like what who the next kind of 4 people are that are trying to reach that kind of Random point, I guess you could say, you know, the point of trying to be as good as Random. Obviously, Acolyte of Team Queso, you got Lonely Kid in there as well, from Gamelord, Fee as well, which you put a little bit higher than me. You put him in the same tier as like Lonely Kid and Acolyte. I think he's like, I think he definitely has potential to be the same as like Acolyte and Lonely Kid, but I think they're just like a little nudge above. But again, it's probably like small margins. And then Elegy as well.
I don't know. I probably would have put Elegy in the same rank too, but like Fee's Elegy again is one of those players that I think is really good at the carries, but I don't think he's as versatile as some of the other Baron laners.
Yeah.
Like if you go against like Elegy's Fiora or Elegy's Camille, you know you're gonna have a bad time most of the time, right? But I just think like Fee is very flexible, and that's what I really rate about Baron laners. I think Baron laners that are flexible and can play multiple styles are really important to teams because for the most part, there aren't many roles that can give you a really good dedicated tank. And I think like dedicated tanks are actually genuinely important to Wild Rift, and I think like the Baron lane is the one role that really opens up a tank that's going to get the gold income to be useful, unless you're playing like a Leona who gets free stats and shit. So you know, I think I really rate Baron laners who I've seen play that tank style really well, and I've seen play the carry style really well. And like you said, I think Fee's got a lot of potential. I know. Look, I will caveat that when I talk about these players, I haven't seen a lot of them play for quite some time. So a lot of it is based on like previous opinions and like opinions
all of this
teammates
is like kind of prediction because we haven't really seen a lot of players for a long time. So I think the whole tier list is kind of predictions and what we've seen previously.
It could be like this tier list could be turbo in, you know, when we actually get to.
True.
Acolyte's one of those players as well that like he's got a lot of experience. He never ints, and I think like Acolyte is never going to let you down as a Baron laner, right?
He's just a solid top lane.
He's just a solid Baron laner. Like he's, but you know, I think that he's got a great Darius, for instance. Like obviously his Darius is kind of really well known. But he's just the experience that he has, the fact that he's just such a dependable player and he's very versatile in that sense. That's why it puts him in S for me. But you know, like mechanically, you compare him to like Random, you think Random takes the cake in that sense. Yeah, but Acolyte's experience and kind of versatility really puts him up there as a top tier Baron laner for me.
Yeah, And then moving on down to B, we've both put Millip and UI there, and then we've got some other differences. I mean, I personally don't know too much about. I mean, it looks like we
Well,
both don't know too much about Extreme, and I don't know too much about Patterson. I mean, not Patterson, sorry, Jash, and then it seems like you don't really know too much about like Patterson. So there's like some little differences, but I think in an all-round general Baron lane, it seems like we're both kind of
kind
on
of
the same
aligned,
page.
right? Yeah, I think we're
Yeah.
kind of aligned. I think Josh, for me, I saw him in the ESL Premiership last year. In
Oh,
the
is he in
tournament you
ESL
played in.
Premiership?
Yeah. He
Who
played in
did
the
he
same
play
tournament.
for?
I don't
You
remember, but
remember?
and he was
Oh,
okay. He was okay, but he wasn't like standout or anything. Um, but I really only put him there because that's the one competitive tournament that I remember him from, and haven't really seen him do much else. Whereas
yeah.
he could be much better now, but I just don't know. And the thing with Patterson, I mean, I'd actually love to know who he is. Maybe I just haven't caught him, but I don't know anything about Extreme
To be
Patterson, so that.
to be honest, like the only reason I put Patterson in is because I've done a few like VOD reviews, not VOD review, but like watching VODs of Zero Zone in the I can't remember what the Spanish tournament was called, but the one that happened last month with
Oh
like
yeah,
Queso, Zero Zone, and all the Spanish teams, and I watched like a few like games from there, and he seems like a pretty decent baron. Like he was doing pretty well. I think even at one point he solo killed Acolyte as well. So I think Patterson. That's why like Patterson for me is like kind of a question mark. I feel like he could definitely be higher, but he also can be lower as well at the same time. But I've seen a few. Obviously, I've only seen like maybe 2 or 3 games of him, so I don't know too much. But I think he's decent. And then Millip as well, like question mark. I feel like Viv in general could be really, really good. Obviously, Millip used to play on Mood Gaming, and he was he was doing fairly decent in Mood Gaming before. So I'm not too sure if he's like he could be there, he could be higher, he could be lower.
yeah.
And it
I
looks
think
like we both agree
Viva.
with UI.
I think Viva definitely a bit of a sleeper team. I don't really expect them to start. We'll talk about teams later, but I don't really expect them to stack up against our top tier teams. But like
Mm-hmm.
they've got some good players. Like Tyra's their jungler has got a lot of competitive experience, across a few different titles,
Yeah.
especially Vainglory. So yeah, but no, but I
Cool.
think the Baron lane's the easiest one for us because we were
Yeah.
generally in agreement about most of the players.
Yeah. Next up, Jungle. There's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, so this is where the difference comes in. I just want to put it out there. I really, really, really think Vex is very good.
Mhm.
His solo queue, his solo queue rating tells you that in its own right. But then I want to caveat that I don't know whether it's just his Olaf that's really good or like, or like he's good. But I think Vex has like transformed his image. Like I think coming into start of Wild Rift Esports, people had a lot of hype around Vex given his pedigree in Arena of Valor. But he didn't quite live up to it, and you had people like Andre and Zeph to kind of taking the cake there. But I think Vex has kind of really, really ground it out as like the up and coming best jungler in
Mhm.
in Europe. So I really, really think Vex is I feel like he'll be the best jungler. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even though I've put like Andreas and in S plus, I mean, we haven't seen Andreas in a long time. I think we haven't really seen a lot of Team Queso in a long time because they haven't really participated in a lot of community tournaments. Obviously, saw them in the Spanish tournament that they won, and he still seems pretty solid. And I think last year he was the best jungler. I think most people could say that. With like, I think it's very tight between them top 4. I think it's definitely them top 4 that I think are a long way above the rest. That's why, like underneath, I haven't put like anyone in A tier at all because I feel like it's them 4, and then there's a big massive step to the next one. Obviously, you disagree a little bit with Tyra's being in A tier.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's close between our top 4, but they're clearly the top 4 junglers in the
Mm-hmm.
competition, right? And I think, yeah, I mean, I think Andre did a little bit of experimentation going mid, and like I think he wavered in his own confidence in the jungle a little bit. Maybe there's some I think there was some experimenting going on in Queso on the roster. But I think they're all really good junglers. I'm just taking a punt at like I have a feeling that
Yeah,
Vex is going to really
yeah,
show up in the tournament, But I think SE7 and Andre are just too brilliant. And Zefter's always been good, right? Zefter has
yeah, oh,
always
yeah.
been a good
He's always
jungler.
been solid. Yeah.
I put Tyra's in A mainly because Vainglory fanboy, and I've got to rep my Vainglory guys a little bit. But I also think he's really smart. Like he plays the game really smart. He's he's like always very quick to get to challenger. Is a bit of a Pantheon abuser, not gonna lie. But I think he's got a really good head on his shoulders. I think Kemal's decent. I maybe underrate him. I just don't. I haven't seen him play in a while, and the last time
Yeah.
I saw him, I wasn't like over the moon. Fowlin, I put in C tier, and Chief's gonna hate me for saying this. Chief told me that Fowlin was a massive Inter from. I don't know if that's the case.
So you're basically basing it on what Chief said.
So I'm basing it off Chief said. No, but yeah, I think yeah, I just haven't got enough like competitive confidence in Fowlin to like really say if he'll be much higher than that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the other guys I just don't know enough about. We've all put the same three that we don't know enough about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got Ferrex from KTRL. Lubunya from Zero Zone. I think there's quite a few Zero Zone members that most people don't really know about because it's quite a big Spanish horde. I think we did see a few times in Team Dark, but to be honest, with Team Dark, with like all their names being like all like Asian letters and things like that, it's like really hard to know who is who and who's playing and who's not playing in Team Dark. So I mean, maybe I've seen Sync play before, but I don't remember. Like his name doesn't really ring a bell. But that's why we've all put them down there. But I think
if I've heard of them or watched them playing, they're going in a tier, even if it's not
exactly.
accurate. If I've not heard of them or I've not really watched them play, then I can't put them in a tier.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. But anyway, right. Mid lane. You know, I don't even know if I've actually looked at all of yours properly, to be fair. But
I think we both had a similar. I think we both had a similar kind of thought about mid lane. That there isn't really any like absolutely insane level mid lane players in Europe. I don't think. I personally believe Snitch is the best of the mid laners, but mostly because like he's got a really good head for the game and he's got so much competitive experience in other titles as well. And he's super versatile. Ruiz apparently, by the way, has like popped off since moving over to Gamelord.
Oh like, yeah, I mean he did really well in the previous Purge tournament last month. Like that's why for me, like he's like, I mean it's really close between like Ruiz, Snitch, Yeku, and even like Veos and Sharks for me underneath as well. Like I feel like, I mean maybe like the top three that I put in S and maybe like a little bit step above like Veos and Sharks underneath, but Ruiz, I mean like I think solo killed Snitch I think various times. Like he was making so many good plays. I mean, not every single game he was playing like perfect, but he's been really good. And I think it's been a great addition for Gamelord so far. Like ever since swapping out Veos for Ruiz, it's been a really good step in the right direction. Obviously, Ruiz on Team Cater before has a lot of experience with Horizon Cup and everything as well. So that's why for me it's like slightly above, but it's close. It's close.
I think Veos is too passive for Gamelord. I think the thing I like about Ruiz is he just goes like balls to the wall, like literally like he throws himself into team fights. He's the one that makes engages. He's kind of like the initiator and he makes plays. I always think that Veos was kind of like a Ziggs abuser, like he would just play a lot of these kind of the passive kind of mid laners that would scale up and more focused on pumping out damage rather than setting things up. Whereas I've always felt that Snitch and Ruiz kind of have that similar shared identity where they're both very much like willing to take that kind of more heavy engaged style champion. Like they're both big Diana players, for instance, but I think it's pretty close between the two. You probably have a more recent opinion of Yekui than I do. So therefore I think my Yekui rating might be a little out of date. But I think all of the rest, like the guys in A, there isn't really, like, in my opinion, like massive swinging differences between all of them. They're all just really good mid laners. But I just felt like Snitch and Ruiz were just that little bit above, which is I didn't really feel like Snitch and I didn't really feel like they were. I don't want to say this in a harsh way. I don't feel like Snitch and Ruiz are like goated enough to be like random level respected in their lane. But I just wanted to like show that I feel like Snitch and Ruiz are the best in Europe, and there's a little bit of a gap between them and the rest of the pack.
Yeah, I don't really remember too much from Gink. Probably, I mean, is it Kinks, the Team Dark mid laner? Like you put him in. I can't even remember the last time.
Oh, I thought it was King C. I think he. I thought he did some subbing for Gamelord a while ago, back in Origin series.
I can't remember. I mean, again, like all the members of Team Dark, like the names don't really bell except for like Eligi and Juicy, which their actual in-game names are Eligi and Juicy, so it kind of makes sense. But the rest of them I can't really remember. But and then we got like a couple of people down in B tier. You put Zephyro down in C tier, but I put Don. I mean Don. I feel like maybe it's a bit close. I feel like you actually put. I feel really bad for saying this, but I feel like you actually put McKelly quite high in my opinion. I don't know if he's like.
I didn't realize that the gaps between them in the tiers made a difference.
I mean, it doesn't really make a difference, to be fair. I mean, like, it's like B, A's, S. It doesn't really make a big difference. But yeah, I mean, I put them all in B tier anyway because I feel like they're still. I think they're all maybe at the same level. Maybe like the Don is like probably above them too. Maybe. But like
the Don on Twisted Fate,
like,
the Don on Twisted Fate, S tier.
Yeah.
The Don on not on Twisted Fate goes in B tier.
There you go. There's Scoundrel's tape. But yeah, I think McKelly the last time I saw McKelly was ESL as well. I remember he definitely did play at ESL. Again, I watched like a few VODs as well. I think he didn't play actually. He didn't play in the Spanish tournament. I remember now because I remember Fowlin used to be on Zero Zone and now he's moved over to Weigers. That's quite an interesting thing for tomorrow.
I actually don't. With Saphiro, I wasn't really sure who he was.
Yeah.
I recognize the name, and I feel like I might have run into him in solo queue and stuff. But I don't think I've seen him play competitively, and it's kind of like in the Fowlin boat for me. It's like I kind of know Fowlin, but I've not really caught much of his competitive game.
Yeah, I mean it's hard because like most of these, like some of these players we don't really know too much about. So like I say, it's more like prediction than anything else. I mean, again, I saw Zephyro play a lot of Diana actually. I think he's actually really really good on Diana. He played a lot of Diana in the Spanish tournament as well and kind of popped off. So that might be an interesting pick and everything. And then we both had Ryderzito in question mark. Funny enough, he used to be the jungler for Team Dark. He played Purge, I think it was a few months ago now, and he was actually a jungler before. So he's now a mid laner. I'm not really too sure, how he's going to perform or like. I mean, I haven't really seen any games of Ryderzito, so that's why I've put him down there. But I think overall, again, we kind of have the same sort of, I guess, thought process. But there's like a little thing that I think Yeku's like a really solid mid laner. I think he's like, I think he's up there with like Ruiz and Snitch, definitely. But
Stuart is just saying this so Wild Rift Buddies doesn't flame him. But then Don is already in B tier for both.
Yeah, exactly. So
Stu's getting flamed. I'm probably getting flamed regardless.
It's fun. We're getting flamed.
Don's gonna run into us in solo queue somewhere and just run it the fuck down.
I can imagine that.
All he's gonna type in chat is B tier, and he's just gonna lock like Yasuo and just run it down mid 10 times.
Oh god, that's too funny. Right. Now, Duralane's a really interesting. I think Duralane is probably the most interesting out of all of these tiers. You'll see now that some of our differences and everything. Now, before we go into this, if you don't know, Scoundrel, Kranix is actually Rick's friend. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know that, and so therefore I just put it in question mark. Okay, well, if it's friend, then I'd probably say A tier.
Yeah, well, like underneath, like there probably, or like.
But it doesn't really. I mean, probably above Joey. If it had to matter, it would be above Joey. But yeah, it doesn't. I don't know.
It doesn't really matter too much. Whatever. We'll just do this for now. We'll just put. But yeah, Kranix is he name changed. It's actually Rick's friend.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I wasn't too sure if you did that. Interesting enough, you put Doom in the God tier, S+ tier, whatever the hell we're gonna call it.
I'm just a Doom simp. I'm sorry, but I'm just a Doom simp, and I will always simp Doom, regardless. I mean, I think Doom probably was a better jungler, but I know Doom was always and I think it probably is going to take some time for him to kind of like really get to that status as AD carry. But I know that he's always been an excellent AD carry player. I know that he prefers AD carry in general. I think, I think Doom's insane. Like, I just think he's a really really good player, and I think maybe you could say he might not be the most mechanically intense AD carry, but I think he's obviously still mechanically brilliant.
Yeah.
But like, if you had to say that there was some edge, like maybe some other AD carries might get a mechanical edge over Doom, but just the head for the game that Doom's got is just really good. And as an AD carry, most AD carries do not have heads for the game. They just click minions. Like, if you ever watch Stu stream and he's like, he's in a side lane collecting waves when there's like 3 objectives on the map, and you're just like, Stu, why are you in a side lane? He's like, just the waves, man. That's AD carries in a nutshell. Like, all they see is last hitting minions. But if they can actually think about the game, that makes them significantly better. And Doom, he can really think about the game. So yeah, Doom's going in S tier. Also, I'm a massive Doom simp, so don't give a fuck. apart from the other, I think Redemption, he's come out of nowhere with a vengeance. Like Redemption was considered last year as he was like okay, decent, bit of a meme,
Average, yeah.
average, like, but like now he's come back and he's like swinging hard. And I think the good thing about Redemption is that he can play like a very wide variety of champions. Like he's really good on AP carry spot as well.
Yeah, I was going to mention that he's actually been doing really, really well on like champions like Ziggs and like these AP
Orianna,
champions that we
he's
see
a really
like,
good Orianna
exactly,
bot as
yeah.
well.
Which
Yeah.
is why, like, for me, like, okay, if this was like, I mean, it's kind of like two different tier lists now that I'm thinking of. But if it's based on like just like AD carries itself, then probably Doom is, I would say, maybe like S plus. And if it's just AD carries, I feel like Doom is not as good with like the meta at the moment.
Have you
I mean,
seen
like
his brand?
oh, okay,
his brand's pretty
his
good.
Veigar, to be fair, but like I mean, it's I don't know. Like for me personally, I think that we like the way the meta is. I think the gap between Doom and Redemption is actually not that much, especially if they like both play AP mages, for example. Like if it's like Orianna versus Ziggs or something like that, I actually think for like Redemption's Ziggs or Redemption's Orianna
Oh my
could
god,
be
the
like
skill
a bit.
expression on Ziggs. Skill expression on Ziggs is just so fucking high. That champion. That champion requires absolutely like godly fingers to play correctly.
But I mean though, like, I just
Yeah,
mean
I
like
know,
AP champion. I mean like AP champions in general. I don't feel like if it's like AD carries, if you're talking like Kai'Sa, Lucian, Varus, and all this sort of stuff, then I would say definitely Doom is definitely like S plus tier or God tier, whatever the hell we put it as, even though it's both different. But yeah, I feel like I agree with you. Redemption has definitely improved quite a lot over the past year and everything. I think like I said, I think the meta actually suits him. Like with these AP majors in bot lane, I feel like maybe he thinks a bit different, but I feel like he's definitely a lot more comfortable with these bot lane AP carries. But we move on to A now. A is a really interesting one. Obviously both put Kranix up there, which is for people who don't know, is Rick's friend and everything.
Isn't Hydra a meme? I thought Hydra was a turbo meme. I don't know why I put him in eggs. I thought he was like a really massive meme.
I mean, I don't feel like he's that bad. Like I feel like there's a lot of people that like flame him and everything, and they say like, oh, he's like one of the worst members, if not like the worst member on Na'Vi and things like that, and like he's an inter and all this sort of stuff. But I feel like he's not that bad. But I don't really know.
I actually think the AP meta suits Hydro. I think the AP meta suits Hydro. I think he's got that capability. Yeah, I don't know. He's obviously got a lot of pedigree. He's been around mobile esports for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But I just always knew that people used to meme him. I honestly, I didn't get to see him play a huge amount because by the time the Origin series rolled around, he wasn't actually playing as actively on any team.
Yeah.
But
I mean, we'll see what happens.
I mean,
so,
Na'Vi are good, right? Na'Vi as a team are good, so he can't be dragging the team down. So that's why I put him in A.
I feel like Na'Vi overall is just like overall like they're all pretty solid. Like I think Vex and Show, which we'll see the support tier list, are definitely above the rest of them. Even like Yeku as well is really solid, and like even Fee as well. So I feel like they're like all pretty solid and everything. I think the main question mark for both of us, which it might hurt him a little bit because we both know him really well, is Joey Skaggs. You put him in A.
Joey's going to turbo smash on him. Joey's going to turbo smash on the entire
I put a question mark for Joey. And the reason why I put the question mark is that we haven't really seen him in a long time. He did play with Methanaut. Again, we'll see the sport tier list in a second. He did play with Methanaut before in, I think it was a Purge tournament that they won before. They're a really good, solid bot lane duo. But I'm not too sure if he's going to live up to like he's got big shoes to fill in Team Queso. Like huge shoes to fill.
Really? You think Ibu's shoes to fill were that big?
I think okay. I mean, I guess Team Queso as an organization.
Yeah, like
it's a big step up for him.
I think unarguably Ibu memorized the weakest part of that team. But I agree what you mean in terms of like fulfilling what Queso have managed to achieve as a team over the last year. I think with Joey, if Joey was playing on iPad, I would have just shoved him in S tier. Absolutely no question about it. But he's obviously had to make that transition over to phone because he, as a lot of pro players did, they couldn't play on iPad, so I've had to move over to phone. And I think that did hurt him a little bit. The only reason I haven't put Joey higher, I think Joey is one of the best mechanical ADs on this list. I think he's a really, really gifted mechanical player. But he has these things that we call Joey moments, where he doesn't think about what's going on, and he decides to just run headfirst into the enemy team a 1v5 and then just die. So that might be solo queue only. Maybe his team reins him in a little bit when it comes to competitive. But apart from that, like I think Joey he's still like super young as a player. He's
Yeah.
still got like a ridiculous amount of
Oh,
time to
100%.
grow.
Yeah.
And I think he's like definitely like a an up and coming rookie that hasn't had much chance to show himself. But I think he's really, really good. I think
Yeah.
he'll very quickly become one of the best ADs in Europe.
Yeah, I feel like he's definitely got like a point to prove and everything as well. And he's been like, I mean, we spoke to him a lot of times. Like he's been wanting this moment for a long time. So I don't feel like he's gonna, take it for granted or anything, or he's just gonna completely run it down. Like, I mean, as you said, he's still young, and I definitely feel like he can be like one of, if not the best ADs like on this list. Like he's I mean, it's going to be interesting watching him, because we obviously we haven't really seen Team Queso with this duo bot lane, so we don't really know what to expect, and we don't know how the playstyle and everything is going to be, because I think in the Spanish tournament they were still playing with Ibu and Memorize because they didn't change the roster around. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, I think we both agree that he's still a really, really strong player. Obviously Kranix as well, Rick's friend, we both know, very, very strong, AD. He was one of the best ADs last year overall. Feku, we got like kind of the same as well, again from formulation, like okay, could be a little bit better. I don't really again, like Team Dark names I can't really remember correct. Like I can't remember who's who on Team Dark. Obviously you put Team Dark Mario in B tier, and then we both put our nation. And you put E-Man down in C tier. I feel like he's gonna flame you for that a lot. I put him in B tier. Obviously, I put him in the bottom.
I've only put E-Man in C tier because he comes to your chat all the time. And anybody that comes to your chat must be really boosted. So that's the only reason I put E-Man in C tier.
Okay, so it's not actually
also because
I've
never seen E-Man play competitively, so I just couldn't tell you. But I've literally put him in because he's a frequent visitor to your chat, and everyone in your chat must be boosted. So
true. If you watch me, you are boosted. That is very true.
That's why E-Man's there.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen him too much. I think I spectated a few of like their open qualifier games, but I feel like he does have potential to be up there, but I definitely feel like he's probably the weakest out of all the AD carries. But again, it's just our prediction after all. Our nation, again, I saw a little bit of Zero Zone. He loves like AP mages in the bot lane. He could definitely be higher. He's pretty decent as well. And yeah, Feko is I think he's decent, but that's it. Anything else to add to duo lane? I mean, you're a simp for Doom, we know that, but I don't think that he's as good as.
No,
I don't think there's a bit. I don't think there's
now.
as big of a gap between Doom and Redemption, but agree to disagree. Agree to disagree.
You don't know what's going on with your life. You don't know what's going on with your life, do you think?
Oh no, I have to. Oh my god. Okay, this is gonna completely go wrong. Anyway, right there you go. There's the next one. There is Oh no, I have to add.
It's interesting that no one's gone for a like go-to tier support.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I feel like there's definitely a top three, and the top three for a long time has been Clue, Show, and Teste, which is why I put them in S tier. I could honestly probably move them all into S plus tier, and like all three of them could be S plus tier in my opinion. And then there's a huge gap underneath as well. I mean, Methanol, I got a question mark because again, same as Joey, I haven't really seen them too much. I don't really know how they're going to perform on Team Queso, but I think with good players around them, they could do really well.
From what I know about Methanol, and obviously he's also known as like angry support, or I think he's really good. I actually think he's like the perfect support for Joey because he probably keeps Joey grounded a little bit. He's got like Methanol is just very, very solid engaged support player, and also like Braum player, for instance. Like I kind of know him for his Braum, but where's Keys, man? Why is Keys not on a team here? So I could put him in. So I could have put Keys in goated tier.
There you go.
What? Oh, no. Can you put him in G tier, please?
That's where Keys for you? Okay. Keys, yeah. Smile. Okay.
Smiley face. There we go. Keys goes in G tier.
We love Keys. But yeah.
Yeah, but I think. I haven't seen Show play for a while. I think like he probably is up in S tier. It's just that I haven't seen him play for a while, whereas I've seen much more of Clue and Hest, and I'm kind of really confident in their abilities. I'm not as confident in Show. And Zawa is one of those players that like I know from previously watching is good, but I wasn't confident enough to shove him like up towards that top four that I've kind of put down.
Yeah, I mean, I casted formulation a little bit in the Purge tournament, and like, I mean, like most people know that Zhao used to be a mid lane before, and I feel like he was actually pretty decent as a mid lane. But moving over to support, I think it will still take a bit of time for him to kind of adapt in the support meta and everything. I think his Galio is pretty decent. Um, Other than that, I'm not really too sure. Again, I put a question mark on him because again, I think he could be higher, he could be lower because he's one of them players that I'm just like I'm not really too sure what to really think. I feel like he's still pretty decent, but I'm not really too sure if he's going to be up there as one of the best and if he can be as mechanical as he was for mid lane. I mean, the one clip that comes to mind when he did like a 1 versus 2 outplay last year was Zed up in the Baron lane. I still remember that clip as well. And I think it's still on his Twitter and everything, but. Yeah, that over. I mean, yeah, I mean, I think formulation as a whole is like they got a lot of question marks in their team. I feel like they're like decent, but I don't know if they're going to be. They can fall behind and they can maybe be a bit of a coin flip team as well because of like Zhao moving down to support, Feko not being the best, Don sometimes a bit flippy, and obviously Kamau as well in UI. So like they're all kind of B tier, so it's just yeah, it's kind of difficult. And then Ryu as well. Obviously, we both know Ryu. It's yeah, we put. I mean, we
I
put
feel
him in
like I've
B
done
and
my I feel like
everything.
I've done my boy Ryu dirty here, and I feel bad for it. Um, Ryu is pretty smart about the game, but I feel like yeah, I just couldn't, in good conscience, put him up with the rest of the crew. I like,
Yeah.
and I do love my boy Ryu, and I think I could come out of this tournament with him having a lot to prove here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Um,
Yeah. I think a lot of these players have a lot to prove. To be honest, in this whole tournament, it's going to be
I
quite
mean,
good.
as I said, I think Viv are a bit of a dark horse team, and
Yeah.
Ryu is definitely part of that. Um, I'll be watching Ryu with like definitely with keen interest. That's the way I want to put it. I will be watching Ryu with keen interest. I'm definitely interested to see how he does.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting. And then Juicy as well. Obviously, I remember Juicy from T Dark. I think he's average. Like he's okay. And obviously about Komoto, which I did originally put in the question mark because okay, so interesting story for people who don't know. I used to play with Komoto Polish Onion. He was a bit of meme at times. He was a bit like kind of trolling in a way at times. I guess he loves NASA support. If he plays NASA support in WREC with like Senna AD carry, then I'll love him because it will be so funny to see him play Nasus on the big stage.
I'm pretty sure he
Yeah, I
did
don't
that
think.
only to troll you.
I mean, he
joking.
probably did. He probably did, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's. I definitely feel like he could definitely be better, and I think he's definitely really good when he's not trolling. Like if he's actually on a pretty decent pick, like his Thresh, for example, is really good. But yeah, I'm not. I don't think he's as good as like Ryu and Zawa and Juicy, Methanaut, etc. And then we put Fran and wait, did I even put? I didn't even put Zero in here at all. Wait, why is Zero? My Why
What
is
did I?
Zero? I don't know. I don't know why Zero's here. Like, there's not even a support
I'm
list.
not even sure why Zero is there. Get
Yeah.
rid of it.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, we both don't know too much about Fran and Round Flame. We'll have to see how that works tomorrow because that's
Oh,
the
we've
first game
deleted my
tomorrow.
Kranix. Kranix needs to go back up.
Yeah, I know
In
because I didn't do. I'll add it after I do the teams. Yeah, because
okay.
I'm doing the whole Control Z thing. Anyway, right, teams. Now this is the I think this is the big part of the whole thing. There you go. There are our teams. Now, okay, I'm going to quickly jump in here. You put Game Lord in G, and we both put all the members in, underneath and everything like that. What do you feel like is the gap between Game Lord and the rest? Because I think, in my opinion, I think Game Lord favorites. Obviously, you think Game Lord are probably favorites as well. But do you think the gap is that big, or?
I mean, I did. As again, I'm not the spaces between the
Oh no,
teams
no,
are not
I'm not. I was
supposed to
just asking
represent.
like a general question. I was just asking a general
I
question.
mean,
Like, do you think like they're definitely
I
like
just
S
think
plus,
that
like one of favorites, or do you
I just
feel
think their
like there's like
drafts are really good. I just think that they have a lot of different like individual carries, but I think the way they work together as a team, their macro understanding, their tempo, like they generally play the game a little bit better, even though the individual parts might not be as strong. When they come together, I think they are like significantly better than most teams at the moment. But of course, it's Wild Rift. You could say that,
yeah?
and then next week they'll get fucking shat on in every game. So Yeah, I just think Game Lord are that much better right now than the rest of the squads. But it's not like a massive gap, but it is
No.
just enough to say that I think Game Lord are a little bit ahead of the pack.
Yeah, I think we can agree that like the 4 teams like Game Lord, Rix, Navi, and Queso are just the top 4 teams, and I think most people will agree with that. To be fair, um, I mean, I could, I think Rix. I mean, obviously in the previous tournament, in the Purge tournament, they didn't even qualify for the playoffs, and they kind of had a bit of a rocky road. But then before that, they won a few tournaments anyway. So like, I mean, Rix on their day can be really, really good, and probably could be like the best team on the day. But sometimes they do have their off days. But I think that's the same, like you said, with all teams. Sometimes you get off days and everything. And you got Navi as well, and then for me, Team Queso is a big question mark because of their duo lane. I'm not too sure if they're going to be as good, but I guess we could both quickly talk about Viv Esport. I think we both feel like that they're kind of a dark horse, and they definitely can surprise a few people. Hello.
Sorry.
Oh, you're not.
You need to repeat this.
Oh no, sorry. I was just saying like I don't know if you disconnected or I was like, hello, are you still here?
I zoned out. I'm so tired.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry.
You were talking. There was something coming out of your mouth, and I just didn't register any of it.
No, I was just saying about Viv. Just like Viv, like we both think that
I think
they
Viv
could be the
good,
surprise factor.
I think Viv are the dark horse team. I really rate Tyras. I even if Rio's in B tier, I rate him pretty highly. I think obviously Friend is a great AD carry. So I think Viv are like the dark horse team for me. I think outside of the top 4, they're the team that's most likely to make a dent, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think like obviously Sharks and Millip as well used to be on the old Mood Gaming roster, and they were pretty good on there as well. So it's like Mood Gaming V2 with like a few other additions and things like that. You put Team Dark above now. I don't know. Team Dark for me is like they can be good, and they probably are like pretty decent. They probably can be the same as Viv, but I'm not too sure. Sometimes they're a bit like, I guess, a bit like coin flip. Like sometimes they do really, really well, and sometimes they're like completely running it down. And I think Elegi is the main like captain of that team, and I think he definitely holds a high ceiling, and like he's definitely on the he's holding the rest of the team on his shoulders. But
Team Darker is the type of team that's got the mechanical players that when they get their champs and they play well, they can probably shit on most teams. But sometimes they'll just fucking lose to a Group C Origin Series team. That kind of like they're a bit they're very coin flip.
Yeah. And then Formulation as well. We both got. I mean, the teams are roughly the same as well. To be fair, Formulation down there. I put Zero Zone in B as well. See, like I said, I've watched a few like VODs of them. They actually did pretty well against Team Queso, so I'm actually looking forward to watching them and everything as well. Obviously, you don't know too much. You put Weigers down in C. I think Weigers I don't really know like too much about, to be fair, but I definitely feel like they're definitely probably down there with like KTRL as well.
They're a bottom of the table. They're a bottom of the table team. Trust me.
Yeah, with KTRL, I think we can both.
I think they're a bottom of the table team. Like they may get some wins off each other. I don't know if they'll get many other wins.
Oh, I don't even know if they could play against each other in the lower bracket. I'm not actually too sure how the lower bracket works and everything.
Actually, I've been too nice to Michaela here. Put him down in C tier.
Wait, I need to change this actually because I did the whole Control Z thing to do it, and then Pranix gets deleted from here, and then that, and then Hydro, and then wait, was there anything else that needed changing?
And Rio definitely didn't tell me to do that. I'm just telling you now. Rio did not tell me to put Michaela in F tier.
Oh god! But anyway, that's our tier list anyway. I think that overall it's going to be really, really interesting to watch, and overall it's going to be I think there's definitely a lot of players that can definitely surprise a lot of people as well. I feel like, I mean, even though we have I didn't put anyone in the C tier. I probably could have been a bit more harsh and put players in the C tier, but I feel like everyone has like the
just like, I don't want to offend anyone.
No, come on, I don't want to be like,
I don't want to offend anyone in the Wild Rift European Championship. Please love me, all the pro players.
I mean, I feel like everyone is decent. Like everyone has a point to prove as well. Like
I'm gonna caveat this, Stu, right?
Here we go.
All of these players are better than me. So I'm
And they're
like,
better than me,
they're
so
all significantly better than me, right? These players are all really good.
yeah,
You just have to separate them somehow, and this
yeah,
is all done for a bit of entertainment and a bit of fun.
true.
And if you get butthurt about being in C tier, just go and prove it in the tournament. You
That
know,
is true.
go and kick some butt in the tournament, and you can tweet me and say "fuck you, scoundrel," and I'll be like, do you know what, mate? Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, if players prove us wrong, then that's what the kind of the tournament's all about. To be fair, and I'd love to see like an upset. I'd love to see like I feel really bad for saying this. I'd love to see like Game Lord lose to like a lower tier team or something like that, or Rix or Navi or Team Queso, or you know one of them
I mean,
lose and drop
Wild
down
Rift
to lower tier. And
Esports is
everything.
young enough that that kind of stuff can happen.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
I don't think Wild Rift has been figured out to the point where, like, every every game has a strategy that you're going to want to adhere to. Like, I think we're still at the stage in Wild Rift Esports where things can like strategies can differ wildly from game to game. Like comfort picks are actually really important still because I think if you were to say in the LEC, like every player in the LEC pretty much plays every meta champion to a very high standard.
Mm-hmm.
So but like in Wild Rift, I still think there are mid laners that don't play every meta champion or or whatever role every meta champion to the same standard as every other player in that particular role. And so I think like comfort and picks like that they were still really important to Wild Rift. So maybe in a year or two that will start to change. But I think right now, like there is always that chance that the bottom tier team gets
Yeah.
its like really comfortable draft and it just absolutely dumps on them just through lane, win game mentality.
Yeah. I mean, interesting. We'll have to wait and see what. I mean, are you gonna upload this on Saturday? I'm guessing you're gonna try and upload it on Saturday, or are you going
Yeah, I'll
to
try and do it for I'll try and do it
before the
before
start.
the thing goes live.
Yeah,
Obviously, I will be watching from the sidelines,
yeah,
but
unfortunately, but
I should, fingers crossed, not be watching the sidelines forever.
yeah, hopefully you'll be able to join us. Hopefully, yeah, that's it for our tier list. There you go. Video done. Everything's done. Let us know what you think. Flame us. Bully us, do whatever you want.
I'm not even remotely gonna go and read the Wild Rift Buddies chat now.
I feel like if I click on Wild Rift Buddies right now, it's just gonna be a bunch of people just flaming me and you right now, and we're just sitting here, having a bit of fun and giving our opinions as
then someone's gonna do a sideline tier list, and they're gonna put Stu and Scoundrel in F tier.
That is true. That is true. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed the video, and hopefully we'll both see you very, very soon for another little pep talk.